Good morning, everyone. The part 8th of the lesson equilibrium is buffer solution. Many body fluids. So, if we are talking about the fluid inside our body, we have only main two type of a fluid. The one is blood, or second one is the urine. First one is the blood, and the second one is the urine. So many body fluids, for example blood or urine, have definite pH. The pH of blood is fixed, the pH of urine is fixed, and any deviation in their pH indicate malfunctioning of the body. If the pH of the blood is changes or the pH of the urine is changes, it means we are suffering from any disease. The control of pH is also very important in many chemical and the biochemical processes. So many medical and the cosmetic formulation required that these be kept and administered at a particular pH. It means the pH is very important. So the solution which resists change in pH, which resist change in pH. The solution which resists change in pH on dilution or with the addition of a small amount of acid or bases are called the buffer solution. It means that the buffer solution resists the change in the pH by the addition of the small amount of acid or the addition of a small amount of bases. So the buffer solution, this buffer solution of known pH can be prepared from the knowledge of the pKa of the acid or the pKa of the base, and by controlling the ratio of the salt and acid or salt and bases. So a mixture of acetic acid and sodium acetate act as a buffer solution around the pH of 4.75, and the mixture of ammonium chloride that is NH4Cl, the mixture of ammonium chloride and ammonium hydroxide, that is NH4OH. NH4OH is ammonium hydroxide, this one is the ammonium chloride. So the mixture of these two act as a buffer around the pH of 9.25. So at the pH of 9.25, they both, the solution or the mixture of ammonium chloride and ammonium hydroxide, act as a buffer solution. So the buffers, if we are talking about the buffer solution, so the buffer solution is mainly of two types. The first one is the acidic buffer, and the second one is the basic buffer. Buffer solution are of two types. One is the acidic buffer and second one is the basic buffer. So acidic buffer solution contain equimolar. Acidic buffer solution contains equimolar quantity of the weak acid and its salt with strong base. So we have an example of the acidic buffer. For example, that is the acetic acid and the sodium acetate. Acetic acid is a weak acid, and the sodium, it's salt in with the weak base is sodium acetate. So the combination or the mixture of the acetic acid and the sodium acetate is known as the acidic buffer, or it is the example of acidic buffer solution. Now the next one is the basic buffer, or the basic buffer solution contain equimolar quantity of the weak base, it contains the accumular quantity of weak base and its salt, weak base and its salt. It means the salt of a weak base and its salt with strong acid. So the example of this one is this one. This is the example of the basic buffer, that is the ammonium chloride and ammonium hydroxide mixture is the example of the weak base. Now there is one other new word, that is the buffer action. This one is the new term, that is buffer action. Now the buffer action means the ability of a buffer solution. It is the ability of a buffer solution to resist the change in the pH value on the addition of a small amount of a acid or a base is known as the buffer action. That property or that ability is known as the buffer action. Now the next term is solubility product. This is the next term, that is the solubility product. We have already learned that the solubility of the ionic solid in water differed to a great extent. Some of the ionic solids are so soluble that they are hygroscopic in nature and absorb water even when the water is present in the atmosphere. They absorb such kind of a water. So, and on the other hand, there are some extreme other examples which are slightly soluble in water, and that they are regarded as, sometimes they are regarded slightly soluble or sometimes they are regarded as insoluble in water. So there are some ionic solid which have solubility in between these extreme cases. Extreme cases means one is that which is highly soluble in water and another one is that which is insoluble in water. So in between these two category, highly soluble and insoluble, so there are so many examples, so many ionic solid which have the solubility in between the highly soluble and insoluble. So the solubility depend on the numbers of factor. It means if we are talking that something is soluble in water, highly soluble in water, and some substances are not soluble in water, it means there are so many factors on which the solubility depend. So among these, the two important factors are, the one is the lattice enthalpy of the salt and the another one is the solvation enthalpy of the ion in the solution. These are the two important terms. First is the lattice enthalpy. Lattice enthalpy, this is the first factor, and the second factor is solvation. This is the solvation enthalpy. So these are the two important factors on which the solubility depend. So let us discuss first with this topic, that is the lattice enthalpy. So lattice enthalpy is the amount of the energy. Enthalpy means energy. Enthalpy term is used for the energy. So the lattice enthalpy is the amount of energy required to break 1 mole of solid salt into its ion. It means it is that amount of energy which is required to break down 1 mole of solid salt into its ion. So greater the lattice enthalpy, more will be the energy required to break the lattice of the salt. And on the other hand, if we are talking about the solvation enthalpy, again it is a enthalpy means it is a type of a energy. So the solvation enthalpy is the amount of energy released. This amount of energy is released, and lattice enthalpy is the required amount of energy, and this solvation enthalpy is the released amount of energy. So it is the amount of energy released when 1 mole of a solid salt, 1 mole of a solid salt gets dissolved in solvent. 1 mole of a solid salt gets dissolved in solvent. So, for a salt to dissolve in a solvent, the strong force of attraction between the ions, there is a strong force of attraction between its ion. So, lattice enthalpy must overcome by the ion solvent interaction, and that is known as the solvation enthalpy. Therefore, a salt will be soluble in a solvent only when solvation enthalpy, this enthalpy is more than the lattice enthalpy. That is the reason behind it, why the salt is soluble in the solvent only, because it has the solvation enthalpy more in comparison to the lattice enthalpy. And if the solvation enthalpy is less, if this amount of enthalpy is less than the lattice enthalpy, the salt will be insoluble. That is the reason. Some salt are soluble because their solvation enthalpy is more than lattice enthalpy. Some salt are insoluble because their lattice enthalpy is more than the solvation enthalpy. So in case of a non-polar solvent, now here I am talking the non-polar solvent, it means we are talking about the covalent compound. So in case of a non-polar solvent, the solvation enthalpy is small, and therefore it is not sufficient to overcome the lattice enthalpy of the salt, and consequently the salt does not dissolve in the non-polar solvent, or we can say that in the covalent solvent, whereas the salt are soluble in the polar solvent, in which the solvation enthalpy is large enough to overcome the lattice enthalpy. So each salt has a characteristic solubility which depends on the temperature. The solubility is also depends on the temperature. Now under this heading, the next heading is solubility product constant. Solubility product constant. So to understand this topic, let us consider the equilibrium between the sparingly soluble salt. Here we consider a reaction in which we have shown the equilibrium between the sparingly soluble salt and its saturated solution. So there are many compounds. Such as lead chloride, that is PbCl2, such as silver chloride, AgCl, such as barium sulfate, BaSO4. Barium sulfate is BaSO4, which are slightly soluble in water. So lead chloride, silver chloride and barium sulfate are less soluble with water. So these slightly soluble substances are called sparingly. They are known as the sparingly soluble salt. Sparingly soluble salts. So when these sparingly soluble salt are dissolved in water, when lead chloride, silver chloride or barium sulfate is dissolved in water, so an equilibrium is established between the undissolved solid salt and the ions of the dissolved salt. Equilibrium exists between undissolved solid salt, it means which is not dissolved properly in the water, and the ions of the dissolved salt. It means the salt which is dissolved in water and it is split in ions. So that equilibrium exists in between them. For example, a sparingly soluble compound like AgCl. Let us take the example of silver chloride. It established a following equilibrium in between the undissolved solid salt and the ions. Ions means when the AgCl is split, we get two type of ion. One is the silver and another one is the chloride ion in the saturated solution. So let us take the equilibrium example, that when AgCl is split, we get Ag plus Cl negative. So by applying the law of chemical equilibrium, we have K, that is the equilibrium constant. So we get such type of a reaction, Ag, this is Cl, and here we have AgCl. This reaction we have. So let us rearrange this reaction. We rearrange this reaction and we get K multiply, that is AgCl is equals to Ag, and this one is Cl. Now we have such kind of a reaction. So the concentration of a pure solid substance remain constant. The concentration of the pure solid substance remains constant. And here the pure solid substance is which one? This one, silver chloride. It means the concentration, let us assume that its concentration, it is in the pure form, so its concentration remains constant. Therefore, the concentration of solid AgCl in the solid state, that is this one, which is under the square bracket, is constant at a particular temperature, no matter how much solid is present in contact with the solution. And it follows that K, now in place of AgCl, if we consider AgCl as a constant, we can also write as a constant. K multiply constant is equal to, the Ag is same and this Cl is also same. These two both are same. This is plus, this is minus. So because it is split into plus species and this one is split into minus negative species. So K multiply constant is equal to Ag and Cl, where now in place of the K multiply constant, we have used a new term, that is KSP. We use the term KSP and it is known as the solubility product constant. This KSP is known as the solubility, this is the solubility product constant. This KSP is the solubility product constant, or it is called simply solubility product. And since the solubility of salt usually varies widely with the temperature, the numerical value of the KSP, that is the solubility product constant for all the salt, changes at the temperature changes, because its solubility also changes as the temperature changes. So as the temperature changes, the value of the KSP is also changes. Therefore, the solubility product of a salt at a given temperature is defined as it is equal to the product of the concentration of its ion in the saturated solution with each concentration term raised to the power equal to the number of the ions produced on the dissociation of 1 mole of substance. Now the last topic of this chapter is common ion effects, or we can say that common ion effects in ionization of acid and bases. So the ionization, we have already discussed this topic. The ionization of an acid gives hydrogen or hydronium ion and corresponding anion. So if any one of the product is added to the acid solution, if we add any one of the product to the acid solution, then the ionization of acid moves towards the backward direction according to the Le Chatelier's principle. So as a result, the ionization of acid suppress and the acid is ionized to the lesser extent. Now let us consider an example where we dissociate the acetic acid. So we have an acetic acid, that is CS3COOH. This is the formula for the acetic acid, and this is the example of the dissociation of the acetic acid. As the acetic acid dissociate, we get CS3COO negative plus H positive. Now let us mention the ionization constant for this acid. So we have, for this we have, this is CS3COO minus, and here H plus, because here we get hydrogen ion, and here we have acetic acid, that is CS3COOH. So if hydrogen ion is added to the solution, if hydrogen ion is added to the solution from any other source, so it will combine with the acetate ion, this one is the acetate ion, in the solution and form unionized acetic acid. So as a result, the degree of ionization of acetic acid will be reduced. Similar will be the effect when the anion is added to the equilibrium mixture from the any external source. Now here we are using the external source, and this is known as the common ion effect. This is called the common ion effect.